Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick DeRay. I am the Chief of the Bureau of Automotive Repair, and I am presiding over today's regulatory hearing. For the record, it is 10:03 a.m. on Monday, April 23rd, 2018, and we are gathered in the hearing room of the Bureau of Automotive Repair, located at 10949 North Mather Boulevard in Rancho Cordova, California. We are here this morning to conduct a public hearing on the proposed amendment and adoption of regulations in Title 16, Division 33 of the California Code of Regulations, as described in the Notice of Proposed Regulatory Action that was duly published in the California Regulatory Notice Register on March 9, 2018, and mailed to all individuals on the Bureau's regulations mailing list. BAR seeks to reduce unnecessary oil changes by enabling consumers to make informed decisions regarding oil change intervals, and by requiring automotive repair dealers who are registered with the Bureau of Automotive Repair to base oil change recommendations on established maintenance schedules. Among other things, the proposed regulations will require registered automotive repair dealers to include a prescribed notice on invoices when performing oil changes, and to adhere to a maintenance schedule published by the vehicle manufacturer, an industry-accepted and nationally distributed automotive service specification provider, or the California Department of Resources, Recycling and Recovery, also known as CalRecycle, when making a recommendation to a customer regarding a vehicle's next oil change. As part of the regulatory process, the Bureau has provided opportunities for the public to comment on this proposed regulatory action. An initial statement of reasons, notice of proposed action, and proposed text have been available for public viewing on the Bureau's website for at least 45 days prior to today's hearing. The public comment period on this regulatory matter will close today, and all comments must be received by the Bureau no later than 5 p.m. This will be the only regulatory hearing concerning the proposed changes in this regulatory package. As a convenience, this regulatory hearing is also being presented via webcast. A link to the webcast is available in the regulations section of the Bureau's website at www.bar.ca.gov. Anyone wishing to comment through that webcast, I'll be providing an address in just a few moments. The purpose of this hearing is to receive oral and written comments concerning the proposed action that was described in the notice. Before we begin taking public comments, I ask that all persons attending this hearing, even if you do not wish to testify, please sign the register that is available at the front of the room if you have not already done so. Signing in is important because it ensures that we have a complete record of all those in attendance. If you wish to make an oral statement today, please indicate on the register that you would like to make a statement, and you will be provided an opportunity to do so. The Bureau reserves the right to impose reasonable limitations on oral statements. If anyone has written comments they wish to present at today's hearing, you may also hand those comments to me now or at any time before the close of the hearing. I note for the record that as of today, the Bureau has received 10 total written comments on this regulatory matter. There is no prohibition on making an oral statement and submitting written comments. So, in other words, you can do both. Our webcast viewers may email any questions pertaining to the hearing procedures or make comments regarding the proposed regulatory changes to barmeeting@dca.ca.gov. Again, that's barmeeting, all one word, at dca.ca.gov. And they can do that over the course of the hearing this morning. We will acknowledge all emails received through the webcast as they are received. Hearing procedures. I will now briefly describe the procedures that will be followed for the regulatory hearing this morning. To begin, this entire proceeding is being recorded. Persons who wish to present comments objections, or recommendations are asked to come to the front table here and speak clearly to ensure that all testimony is recorded and entered into the record correctly. Please identify yourself by name and group or business that you are representing. Next, state your position, whether you support or oppose the proposed regulation at the beginning of your testimony, and identify the specific provision or section of the regulations to which your comments pertain. The Bureau will not respond to nor discuss any questions, comments, objections, or recommendations with respect to the proposed regulations today. Nonetheless, all comments, objections, and recommendations will be considered. The Bureau's responses will be included in a document titled Final Statement of Reasons that will be prepared after the close of the public comment period. Those responses will address how the proposed action is being modified to accommodate any objection or recommendation, or why any objection or recommendation is being rejected by the Bureau. To obtain a copy of the Final Statement of Reasons once it has been prepared, you may make a written request to the Bureau of Automotive Repair or access it from our website. We have a page on our website entitled Regulatory Actions, and all matters pertaining and all documents pertaining to the regulatory matter, each regulatory matter are contained there. The Bureau will maintain the rulemaking file for the proposed regulatory action. The record of this hearing, as well as all written comments received by the end of the public comment period, will become part of that rulemaking file. A complete copy of the rulemaking file will be available for review at this location, the Bureau's headquarters. It is the desire of the Bureau that the record of the hearing be clear and that the hearing itself be orderly. This will provide all opportunities with fair and ample opportunity to be heard today at the hearing. After all interested parties have been heard, this hearing will be adjourned. Now on to the hearing. Before we begin, are there any questions concerning the nature of these proceedings or the procedures to be followed at the hearing today? Have any questions been sent via email? I'm receiving text from upstairs for those who are monitoring the webcast. No comments through the webcast at this point. Has anyone signed up to testify? We do have one. John, did you sign in?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Excellent. All right. At this time, Mr. Cavatak, would you please feel free to come forward? I think it would be easier for the ability of our recording and the webcast ability that all speakers come to the table here.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Gray. Good morning, Mr. Gray, and everybody. Thank you very much for having me and the opportunity to speak today. My name is John Cavatak, and I am here both as a consumer in the Sacramento County region, as well as somebody with experience as an advocate on behalf of small business owners. But I'm also pleased to be here on behalf of Mr. Marty Keller, from whom you should have received public comments in writing in the past week. Mr. Keller is the former chief of the Bureau of Automotive Repair, former executive director of the California Automotive Business Coalition, and former state of California small business advocate. And again, he did submit comments, was unable to be here today, but asked me to represent. As Mr. Keller notes in his comments submitted in writing, the proposed regulations promote neither consumer safety nor consumer cost savings, and given their effect on consumer oil change intervals, risk significant environmental and safety concerns. First, as Mr. Keller cites, the proposed regulations currently lack statutory authority, failing to account for the critical accepted trade standard that treats each vehicle as both a general automobile model and an individual item with its own history of usage and gradual decline from OEM condition. Professional ARD always services its vehicle as is, it's important to point out, and wear and tear varies from vehicle to vehicle, so the OEM's recommended interval may not be appropriate for a specific vehicle. By seeking to impose upon ARDs the requirement that they must adhere to the maintenance schedule, the Bureau exceeds its requirements. Second, the proposed regulations do not protect consumer safety or the environment. The regulations require automotive repair dealers to provide notice to a customer that his or her, quote, vehicle manufacturer publishes oil change intervals and the conditions and factors that influence those intervals in the owner's manual, end quote. The regulations require a repair dealer to adhere to the maintenance schedule published by the vehicle's manufacturer or Cal Recycle. However, these requirements, while perhaps well-intended, reflect a short-sighted attempt to effect a wholesale reduction in the number of oil changes performed in California, thereby creating a schedule that ignores widely accepted consumer norms and is harmful to consumers and ultimately harmful to the environment. Mr. Keller does support, you will find in the comments, Mr. Dre, this by iterating that A, longer service intervals are not applicable to modern drivers, and then also B, irregular and inconsistent service intervals negatively impact the environment. And then finally, Mr. Keller rightly notes that the proposed regulations create an unnecessary burden upon both repair businesses, many of them small businesses, and also consumers. While the Bureau notes that compliance costs are de minimis, if the proposed regulations are to create a new legal requirement that are enforceable, how will the Bureau determine that ARDs are actually adhering to the maintenance schedule that is published by the vehicle's manufacturer? The law already requires adherence to accepted trade practices in the profession of automobile repair, and acknowledges the customer's right to accept or reject any proposed repair based upon appropriate information. So, again, while well-intended, these regulations, Mr. Keller believes in the coalition that he represents, which again, I want to reiterate, this coalition represents a number of vehicle owners and consumers. These regulations are an unnecessary overreach without any statutory authority. They do create legal uncertainty and create potentially more harmful effects on the environment and small businesses and consumers than they hope to benefit. To this end, and on behalf of Mr. Keller and the coalition, I appreciate the opportunity to provide comments of the proposed regulations and respectfully request that they be withdrawn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. Just a quick question. So is because we did receive the comments from
Yes.
Mr. Keller when we walked into the office this morning.
Yes.
So are his comments part of NFIB's comments, or are they separate?
Yeah, I'm not
treated
here
separately?
on behalf, and just to be clear, not here on behalf of NFIB.
Okay.
I'm actually, and I should clarify also, I'm the
sorry.
president of Cabotec Strategies, and I'm working with Marty Geller on behalf of him. Yeah, so we're not, no, but I did want to.
I thought I heard at the outset that you were with NFIB or something, but maybe I just know that from a prior.
Yes, in this capacity,
Prior
I'm
role.
just strictly representing just Mr. Keller was unfortunately unable to be here today.
Okay.
And the coalition.
Okay, cool. I got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kabatek.
Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers? Mr. Belladonna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jack Belladonna on behalf of the Automotive Service Councils of California and the California Auto Body Association in opposition to the regulations. The proposed regulations will not achieve the desired results. Instead, the regulations will have the opposite effect, hurting consumers and imposing regulations only upon regulated automotive repair dealers. Now, the informative digest policy statement overview as part of the regulatory package states that the proposed regulations are intended to raise awareness of information that will enable consumers to make informed decisions regarding vehicle oil change intervals and seeks to require automotive repair dealers to base oil change recommendations on established maintenance schedules. Specifically, the regulations will require ARDs to provide the following notice on the invoice or a document attached to the invoice after completing an oil change. Your vehicle's manufacturer publishes oil change intervals and the conditions and factors that influence those intervals in the owner's manual. Now, the proposed regulations will additionally require ARDs to adhere to the maintenance schedules published by the vehicle manufacturer, an industry-accepted and nationally distributed automotive service specification provider, or Cal Recycle when making recommendations to the customer regarding a vehicle's next oil change. Unfortunately, these regulations will not accomplish the stated goals because the regulations apply only to regulated ARDs, not unregulated oil change facilities. As the BAR is fully aware, current law under California Business and Professions Section 9880.1 specifically excludes facilities that perform minor services such as oil changes from registering with BAR. These unregistered oil change facilities will be able to continue performing oil changes but will not need to comply with the required consumer disclosure requirements, nor will they need to follow proper maintenance schedules when making recommendations to customers regarding the vehicle's next oil change. In other words, they can continue making 3,000-mile oil change recommendations. This results in no consumer protection and an unlevel playing field for small businesses that must comply with the proposed regulations, while the unregistered facilities need not. Now, BAR should not move forward with the regulatory package unless all oil change facilities in the state are required to adhere to the proposed regulations. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Belladonna. Do we have any other speakers present? Any speakers via the webcast? It does not appear so. Nope. All right. This time I will remind everyone that we will take comments until the close of the public comment period today at 5 p.m. At this time, given we finished fairly early in our schedule, we are scheduled for an hour. We'll take about a 15-20 minute break, see if any additional speakers are planning to come within this hour or planning to respond during the webcast. We'll be break, 15-20 minute break, coming back about 20 to quarter to the hour. Thank you. All right, we are back from break. Had some conversations, I believe. Are there any other comments to be made? Doesn't look like we have anyone else who has attended during the brief break we had, and still nothing on the website. So I'm going to move forward with adjournment of the hearing, if everyone's okay with that. And again, we'll take comments until the close of business. All right, here we go. At this time, I will remind everyone that written comments will be accepted until the close of the public comment period today, 5 p.m. Those comments can be provided via email or mail if delivered today and dropped off at our office. It does not appear, as I've already indicated, that there are any further comments, and seeing there are none, this will conclude the hearing being held today on Monday, April 23rd, 2018. It is now 10:49 a.m. and we are adjourned. Thank you all for attending.